Stoner, general manager down there, I call it a promo. Whenever you speak in an extended period of time and you have a directive or a mission, the promo he cut about why you guys drafted Travis Hunter as a statement and what football can be, and breaking down boundaries and what the future and everything like that was unbelievable. When did you guys decide that we were going to make a play for Travis Hunter? This is a must-have for this Jacksonville Jaguars team. And when did you decide you were on board with the Travis Hunter experience as the head coach of the football team?
I think about a month prior to the draft, we started having some conversations, right? James came in to our office, was Tony and I sitting in here, and he said, hey, what would you guys think if we could go and make this thing happen? And when you go through the evaluation process of Travis on both sides of the ball, and you'd say, yeah, I would take him as a DB and I would take him as a receiver, right? And so those conversations started to become a little bit more realistic about a month prior. And then, okay, you have to go through all the different scenarios, right? What happens when we give up this pick? What do we end up having to do to pivot? And ultimately, it just came down to, look, we want to get a player that wants to come in here and obviously be the best player that he can be. He feels as though he can do some phenomenal things in this league on both sides of the ball, which we appreciate. And we want to be able to give him that platform while also knowing that when your best players are some of your hardest workers, and the guys that truly love the game, that love every aspect of it, that eat, breathe, and sleep this thing, that's who he is. And we do have a lot of those guys in this building, but continuing to add to that is what was really important. And those are the things that he brings.
A month before the draft, being like, so this guy's our number one DB and our number one wide receiver. Yep. So this is not, because it kind of popped up on draft night. I don't think anybody was predicting that. I think you guys kept that very tight, right? I mean, that had to be on purpose.
Yeah, it was. It was pretty consistent throughout that we wanted to keep it quiet. Obviously, you didn't know specifically with the first pick of the overall draft that may have some implications. And ultimately, just I think, both organizations did a great job of keeping it professional, doing it the right way. Obviously we would love to have, kept a little bit more of our building inclusive on some of the decisions, but ultimately you have to make those decisions that are best. And it all worked out for the best.
I think the Arizona Cardinals traded for like Hollywood Brown or something on draft night a few years ago, and nobody knew about it. He was even on a plane over there. So like the Jacksonville Jaguars trade, it not coming out, I think is good news for your culture, personally. I think that is good news for the state of your entire program. Go ahead, AJ.
Coach, as far as Travis Hunter, like heading into training camp here in 5-6 weeks, whatever it might be, do you guys have a plan in place that you're going to build and put together for what you're going to put on this guy's plate? I mean, it's a great problem to have. Like, hey, where do we get him reps? Which side of the ball? How much do we put on him as far as the playbook and everything? Like, is there a plan that you guys sit down with Travis and think about what his training camp could look like?
Absolutely. That was exactly what we did for the off-season program as well, where, we kind of built a plan and then sat him down and really talked through it. And, how does he learn? What is the best ways that he learns? We did gain some of that information throughout the draft process, but when you actually sit down with him and kind of get a feeling, well, he likes to walk through more than sit in a meeting room setting. So let's do more walkthroughs. And we really kind of, every day he was on offense, he also met with the defensive staff in the afternoons and vice versa. And so typically throughout this offseason, he was on one side of ball in practice and he didn't flip-flop. Today he did. And he played both sides of the ball in practice today. And that will have to continue on throughout training camp, where he's playing on both sides of the ball and getting that mental and physical endurance throughout the training camp, because that's what he's going to have to do in games. So ultimately, we're building a foundation right now of both sides of the football, but he's going to have to do both in practice because that's what the game's going to be like. And we'll sit down and kind of reevaluate what we did this spring to see what's the best moving forward.
Hey, no pressure. You got a once-in-a-lifetime player who wants to play on both sides. So, head coach, let's make sure we're monitoring reps. Let's make sure he stays healthy. Let's make sure he's prepared for two impossible jobs. Corner, maybe the hardest job in football. And then wide receiver, everybody's got to be on the same page. Hey, make sure you do it, dude.
Good luck.
Make sure you do it. You said he played on both sides today at practice for the first time.
He did.
How'd it go?
He did.
How'd we feel?
Good. it's one of those things where he's learning continuously as we go through the install, right? And today we tried to keep it really tight with the install, let these guys go on the last day of mini camp, feeling confident, feeling fresh, and he was in the right spot, alignment, assignment, and not a ton of balls came his way when he ended up playing on defense, and that happens as you're playing the cornerback position, but he's been great. The coaching staff, as you mentioned, Pat, like this is an organizational deal, right? From the training staff to the equipment staff to the strength and conditioning to our sports science, everybody has to be on board and understand what his process is and what's the best process to get him to play at the highest level on Sundays. And that's what it's been. It's been a group effort so far.
Do you like the young vibe that you have? Obviously, we thought Stoner was a 12-year-old.
Yeah.
His face popped up on the screen, and we said, what? This guy, general manager, and then McVay came on. Obviously, ties you all together there. And McVay goes, don't sleep on my boy Gladstone. Do not sleep on my boy Gladstone. Feels like there was a mission from the Khan family saying, let's get our young group in here, and let's grow with them. Is that kind of the mindset that you're seeing as well?
A little bit. I mean, I think ultimately, we did have a little continuity being in LA for a few years, and the vision is very similar. And so James definitely has a little killer in him. I mean, he's a coach's son, and so at the end of the day, he's all about ball. The things that you guys would really appreciate and respect about the evaluation process with the draft. Like those are the exact things that he really benefits from in terms of what he values in players. Being football smart, savvy, not just all height, weight, speed, understanding the game. Do they love it? Do they live it? Those are the things that he really values in these players. And those are the same things us as coaches just naturally want in our players. So it's been great so far. He definitely has that young look, but man, he's wise beyond his years.
Yeah, Coach, you guys are supposed to suck down here. I don't like hearing what you're saying. Okay, I don't like hearing what you're saying. We're looking for dogs. We like people that love football. We're trying to do things the right way. We don't need that. Okay, in Jacksonville.
At all.
We don't need that at all, especially as an Indianapolis Colts guy. We do not need that at all. And it feels like every answer you're giving is one that makes it a little bit bigger of a nightmare that down there in Duval. Yeah, you got it. There might be a real monster being built. Go ahead, Tone.
Coach, does it give you confidence coming from Tampa that it feels like the talent on the Jaguars is similar? You're going to have two incredibly talented wide receivers, multiple backs that kind of remind me of the Bucks backs down there, former number one overall quarterbacks on both of those teams. Does it give you confidence or some sort of like reassurance that like, hey, as long as we kind of do what we did there, we're going to have success down here as well on offense?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, every team's different, right? Every season's it's a new entity. Every offense is different. But there are pieces of things that we could learn from last year that can hopefully help us as we go, right? So we had those pieces in place. We had very good talent in Tampa, and Baker was an absolute stud to work with. And we kind of had a mentality we were going to be one version of ourselves in the run game early on in Tampa. We were trying to run zone and a little duo, and then that wasn't working 4 games in. And so ultimately we had to pivot. And I think that was the learning moment was, man, these guys, ultimately it's all about what they can do. Like, what are they best at? Let's continue to try to do those at a high level. And yeah, we got to improve the things we need to improve, but we ended up pivoting to being a little bit more of a gap scheme team in the run game. And that was something that we learned that you can take in every team, that we've got to play to your players' strengths and ultimately do what they do best so we can get the best version of them on Sundays.
X's and O's, play calling, obviously one thing. Head coach, there's a lot more to it. I assume you knew that coming into the job and are experiencing that right now.